Hello, Bobs. I just received this photo in the mail. A portrait of a youngish woman by the photographer B.F. Powelson during his time in Detroit. B.F. Powelson was Benjamin F. Powelson, and during his time in Detroit, he made the acquaintance of industrialist Eber Brock Ward, who was basically the 19th century Henry Ford, as he expanded railroad, the steel industry, and many other, shipping, everything you can imagine in transport and industry. And he became Detroit's first millionaire, but he was obsessed with seances and contacting the dead and obtaining spirit photos in the vein of Mumler, William Mumler of Boston. So Ward got in touch with Powelson, who, as with most photographers of that era, the mid-19th century, were all pioneers. But Powelson had taken a photo of Harriet Tubman back in the day, and so he had some national repute, and Ward sought his advice in reduplicating Mumler's spirit photography, which Powelson informed him was more or less trick of hand. Despite Powelson's expertise in the field, Ward claimed that he was insane not to believe in the validity of spirit photography, and that he didn't know enough about it to make an educated decision on the matter. Powelson, of course, had been doing it for 30 years and said that he could reproduce them mechanically and would show him the process. Ward offered to take Powelson to Boston to witness Mumler's magical photos of the dead appearing next to the living in captured form, but their talks were the farthest it got. After Ward's death, which was there was an extensive will trial where Ward's second wife battled with the children and Ward's sister Emily over the vast estate, with the new young wife, after Ward had sent his first wife, Polly, to an institution where she died. The new wife, Catherine Lyon, got most of the money, as did her children, Clara Ward and his son, Eber Brock Ward Jr. But anyway, during the trial, there was a seance taking place it was a sensational place where ghosts were supposedly conjured in the courtroom, and became basically an absolute joke. But Powelson also testified during the trial, and I'm trying to find the transcript. All right, here it is. Spirit photographs. As you'll see, I posted it on my blog about Ward and his children. B.F. Powelson testified that he was a photographer and had been engaged in that business 30 years. He had 2 conversations about 2.5 years ago with Captain Ward on the subject of spirit photographs. One of these interviews was at Ward's office, and the other at the house of Mrs. Martin, who was basically Ward's personal clairvoyant. A medium. She lived behind his house on property which he sold her, but supposedly sold her, but he would force her to give him a reading every day, even if she was sick in bed, where he would insist that she sit up and labor through her illness to attend to his spiritual needs. The witness, Mr. Powelson, was asked to state the substance of these conversations. Mr. Pond, who was obviously the defense attorney, objected, but Mr. Penniman, who was for the second wife, said the purpose was to show the degree of Ward's faith in spiritualism. After some back and forth, Penniman said he expected to show by Mr. Powelson that he explained the subject to Ward, that is, that he told him how he was imposed upon in the matter of those photographs, and that Ward denounced him as insane. After some more back and forth, there was the returning to Mr. Powelson, who was asked if he told Ward that his so-called spirit photographs were a fraud. Again, the question was objected. This is obviously legalese, and they go back and forth. But eventually they get to asking Powelson if he could explain the process by which these pictures were made. This was also ruled out, and then the judge said, for obvious reasons, we can't go on like this. And then again, he was asked if these so-called spirit photographs or others just like them could be taken in the ordinary mechanical method without the intervention of spirits. Again, it was objected to. And then, clutching the suppressed photo, Mr. Penniman, I'm losing track here. There's so many objections in here. Mr. Pond, I think he lost the album. That's what happened. One of the defense, I don't know if you're the defense, plaintiff defense, forgot to bring the photos in question, and he had to run out to get them. And then he came back with them, and then they quote Shakespeare and Hamlet and blah, blah, blah. And then he says, did you tell Ward, Mr. Penniman asked him, Powelson, did you tell Ward that you could teach him how that picture was made or that you could make another like it? Witness, yes, sir, I did. Mr. Romaine, what was the conversation? Ward said he didn't think I knew enough about spiritual pictures to show him how it could be done. Mr. Romaine, could you have shown him how it was done? Don't answer that, says the court. Note an exception, Mr. Reporter. Romaine then offered to show by this witness how those pictures of Ward's might have been taken, but the court ruled it out. Mr. Powelson, at the request of counsel, produced a number of photographs showing apparition-like outlines in the background, one of them being a photograph of the artist himself with a Madonna hovering near him. Those pictures, he said, were produced mechanically. In his cross, I mean, these would be great if someone could come across these photos of Mr. Powelson with the Madonna hovering over him. In his cross-examination, Mr. Pond asked him if Captain Ward offered to pay his expenses if he would go to Boston and investigate the spirit photography. He did and wanted to go with me. And that's the end of his testimony. But it's quite interesting that Powelson was basically asked to be a mumler, and he refused, knowing that it was a trick. However, it was done, and he produced such photos for the court's testament. Yes, I know this is a shoddily produced video, and I do not care. Do you? Is it okay?